Hi, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. It is good to have you. Today I want to do something a little bit different, something that I don't consciously think about. So I wanted to show you some things that really I think are things that either I can't live without or are brand new to me and I'm just learning how to use and things like that. So let's start with the things that truly I don't think I could live without when it comes to my sewing. And the number one is lots and lots of bobbins. Lots and lots, because you'll find yourself using a lot of different colored thread and having a lot of different bobbins so that you can put all of that colors on their own individual bobbin is such a lifesaver. When I used to have only a few, 10 or less, it became sometimes a problem because I use a lot of different colors and I have a big embroidery machine. And once you have filled up a bobbin, you may not use that bobbin that much, but you want that thread to match. You don't want it's super important, especially when you use real vibrant thread, that you want the top and the bottom to match, because occasionally you do see that bottom thread and you want to make sure light colors, you don't have a dark bobbin. Pinks, you don't really want a green bobbin on the bottom. It's just not that it shows that much, but you will always see it. It becomes I see it, I see it, I see it. Nobody else will, but you will. So it's best to have just a whole lot of bobbins. Make your bobbins when you need them. Use them up if you can, but if you can't, then have another bobbin available for you to make. Second is my clips. I also have pins. I just don't use the pins as often because I stab myself. And there is nothing more frustrating than to stab yourself when you're doing something really important and now you've bled on the fabric and you have to start that little piece all over again. So it's very frustrating for me to have pins, but I love these little clips. And you can do so many things. You can hold your projects together with them, which I do. You know, you get all your pieces cut and you're not ready to sew it, so you can keep them all together that way. But you can also use it just like pins, where you're doing it along the seam, and you see me do that a lot. I keep the pins because there are times when a pin is super important. Let's see. The next super important thing, lots of needles for your sewing machine. You really should not sew more than 10,000 stitches on a needle. It'll start to get dull. You'll find that it starts to kind of hang up in your fabric. It doesn't work as well. It sometimes will cut your thread, and it's just super frustrating when your needle gets dull. You can't see it. So you just really need to pay attention to that needle. So have a lot on hand. I have some for leather, so super thick. I have some leather, but also faux leather. Denim is super tight weave, super heavy duty, and you want the needle to go through that. And then I keep a lot of universal needles because you just don't know when you're going to need a needle or for what type fabric. So universal gives you all of those lightweight fabrics, heavyweight fabrics, all of that you will need. Next, seam ripper. I keep 2 or 3 on hand because I do have a tendency to lose them. If you'll notice, I've already lost the cap for this one. It's here somewhere. And it's really nice because the cap for this one helps pick up threads. But of course I can't find it. But seam ripper, I use this so much. And I tell people, even if you've been sewing forever, you will always need a seam ripper because you'll be just going along, not even thinking about what you're doing. And next thing you know, you put it together wrong and you need to go in and just pull that seam out. And this way you're not going to tear your fabric, you're not going to accidentally cut into your fabric and things like that. So I keep small ones, and then I have my big good one that I use. So very, very important. Next thing, have designated material cutting scissors. Do not cut paper with them, do not cut anything else with them, and do not let anyone else in your family touch them. And that is a huge joke for a lot of people. They go, oh, don't use those are her material scissors. You have no idea how important it is to keep these things super sharp, because you don't want to hack through material. You want to be able to neatly cut through it. So I could not love these more. The other thing is my Rotary Cutter, and I have all kinds of these plastic rulers that go with them. I do not recommend that you get this. This is not something that you need. I'm starting to learn to make my own patterns. All you really need is a long straight line with grid so that you can see your measurements. That is the most important, and I have a number of them. I have different shapes for quilting and things like that. Not necessary. If you can get just a long straight ruler, it'll be your best friend. So that is huge. So I've got my, and your roller cutter fits right up against it, so you can keep that straight line by just rolling your roller right up against that straight line. Huge, huge. That is a big deal. Little pair of scissors to snip thread at the sewing machine. They can be any kind. I have this kind. I also have these, but I do a lot of hand embroidery and stitching and cross stitch and blah, blah, blah. And I also teach students how to do it. So I have just gotten these two pair. And they are just, I got them for a really good deal on Amazon. If you want, I can link them below. But see, they are just, they've got the point covered, so your point's in good shape. But they are just nice little scissors so that you can cut little pieces off at a time. Have it over by your sewing machine. You don't have your big scissors getting in the way. You can leave them where you need them. But I got two pair. I got the copper color and the silver. And so that was just a special pack I got. I do recommend a small pair of scissors so that and these are fine. You can get them in a set with this and a seam ripper and a little package and some needles, some pens and your tape measure. Huge. Tape measure is a big deal, because especially for elastic, when you're making shorts and stuff, you want to know how tight do I need the elastic. The pattern will make the shorts that are nice. They're not fitted, but they're nice. If you want them fitted, you want the tape measure to go, okay, how much do I need to take it in? So hang on to one of these. I like having chalk. This is Taylor's chalk. Not necessary to have. It makes a nice line, but I use this just as much as I use anything else, and you can get it at Dollar Tree. So it's just regular old chalk. Get sidewalk chalk when it's on sale. And you can make marks. It's to make marks on your cloth that then come off. Another way to do that is with these friction erasable pens. They, when you write on the fabric, heat and especially steam will take these things right off. I have talked to people who have a problem it's showing back up when it's cold, but I've never had that problem. So I don't know what the difference is, but I know I always spray mine, mist it, and use a little bit of steam, and maybe that's the difference. But I've never had this not come off. So those are my you really needs. So your chalk, your little pair of scissors, your big pair of good scissors, your rotary cutter. Rotary cutter is not absolutely necessary. You can do the same thing with your scissors, but you'll find you'll do it faster with this, especially if you quilt. Your chalk, like I said, buy the cheap. It's not necessary to have the Taylor chalk. Seam ripper. Seam ripper will be your best friend. You will get so tired of using it, but it is the best tool I think I keep in my box. A few pins at least, even if you're going to use these clamps. You don't have to have both. I just do. I prefer the clamps. It's not a necessity. It's just something that I prefer. Extra bobbins and extra needles are, I think, probably some of the most necessary things. Now I'm going to show you a couple of things that really aren't necessary at all, but they're nice time savers and helpful little things. And the first one is this. This goes on your sewing machine so that you can measure out, it's got a magnet, so that you can measure how much of a seam allowance do you want. You can set this on the sewing machine. It will stick to the sewing machine. And then as you're running your fabric through, you just keep it right up against that. It will keep your seam allowance constant. Now, I just got this. Haven't put it on this machine, but I have another one that I have on my machine at school, and that one I do have on. I do just probably as much sewing there as I do here. Second thing is, again, This will come with your machine, but the additional ones is your different feet for different reasons. This one really helps you stitch in the ditch, go along the seams so that you're staying there. We have this foot, which will help put your ribbon on. It has a channel so that you can have a little bit more 3-dimension, so it can go right over that. But there are lots of different feet for different occasions that pop right on machines. This one helps roll. If you've got fabric that doesn't really, it likes to stick to the foot, that one would be real helpful. But we have all of these different feet, and they also have a special foot for making buttonholes. So extra feet, once you get comfortable with your machine, at first you may use only 1 or 2 feet. And that was the way I did it. Well, actually, yeah, 1 or 2. I used the regular one, and I used the zipper foot. And the zipper foot was a long time coming because I was afraid of zippers. But let's lay it out, and I'll show you. These 2 things are not a necessity. They're kind of like a luxury. So we have those. Seam ripper, huge, major important. Needles, and if you're just doing basic sewing, always buy the assorted. That'll help you with your cloth fabric, your satins, your sateens, your silks, your crinoline, all of those, all of your basic, all of your polyesters, rayons, natural fibers. You can use these type of needles. Anything that's heavyweight, get the needle for that particular heavyweight machine or fabric. You'll find that is a lifesaver. A pair of scissors for your sewing machine area. Your clamps or pins. You do not have to have both, I just do. Your good scissors for cutting your fabric. This is not necessary. If you have good scissors, that's enough. I like both, so I have both. Extra bobbins and a erasable pen. And it's heat erase. This pen is. It is heat and water erase, so you can use it for both. But these are kind of my little things that I use. Now, something that a lot of people like is having this, which is a universal needle threader, or just getting this type of needle threader. And then this side of it is a needle or a thread cutter. So a lot of people like to have a needle threader. I find that I don't use it as much as I thought I would. And yes, you need your measuring tape. So really not a huge amount. Lots of different colors of thread, and other than that, and honestly, you can get away with white and black. If you're just starting, get white and black. Get cotton if you're going to make anything that's going to be in any type of heat. Do not use polyester thread on hot pads and hot mitts because it will melt. So, and then if it'll fall apart. So don't do that. Always try to have cotton. And if you want polyester does run through the machine a little better, but it's personal preference. An inexpensive machine really will go a long way. That can be, your first machine does not have to be $1,000 machine. Go get one that's a couple $100 and just learn to sew. So that's what I tell my students. It doesn't matter what you're making. It doesn't matter what kind of fabric. I use a lot of fat quarters that I buy at the Dollar Tree and at Walmart. And right this coming week, we're going to be making bags at school that the kids are just to go get them some fat quarters that they like, and we're going to sew with them. So I just wanted to show you some basics. Last thing, cutting mat. I have a great big one I use where I use my rotary cutter, but I have this one out here that I use when I'm taping. But you will need a rotary cutter. Cutting mat. And it is self-healing, which means you cut through it and the little seam heals itself. So those are my biggies. Those are what I would get if I were just starting out. And I hope this helps you. I know a lot of people get overwhelmed when they go into Notions and go, well, what do I need? What do I need? You don't need a lot. You need a pair of scissors. You need some extra needles. You need a seam ripper. You need some pins. Huzzah. You got to have bobbins. If you don't have any at all, get you some. And make sure they fit your machine. So other than that, that's it. These are what I would carry around in a toolbox. So I hope this helps you. I'm glad you spent some time with me today. We will be working on putting the quilts together with the quilt blocks that we started and that I got at Goodwill. We're going to be working on that for the next little while because that's going to be Christmas lap quilts for people, and I need to get those done. And who knows what else I'll find to... I know I want to make a trash bag for my car, so that'll be fun. And I'm going to make a baby fitted sheet for the crib. So that'll just be some real quick, handy dandy little things that I can just show you. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back. I hope you give me a like, and if you'll press right down there and subscribe and come back and see us again. And you know, I don't only do sewing, but I do a lot of sewing. So if this is your thing, come back and see us. And have an amazing day.